Big things to come, but right now the item that's on my mind is the big story. And you know that Donald Trump's presidential win has now sparked fear among undocumented U.S. immigrants due to his campaign promise of mass deportations and what many call anti-immigration policies that he has been, shall we say, trumping. Trump has pledged to seal the borders, ensuring migrants enter the country legally. His campaign was marked by xenophobic rhetoric, alarming and many, and the undocumented community are very, very concerned. This morning we are very, very pleased to have joining us a man who has a strong and powerful voice in the Jamaican diaspora. My very good friend, he's the chairman of Team Jamaica Bickle, and he's my guest at this time. Good morning and welcome, Irwin Clare. How are you doing today, my brother and friend?
Pleasant good morning to you, Richie, and to your listeners. It's another day on this great land, and opportunity abounds.
Absolutely. So you are, in fact, on the rock as we speak.
Yes, for the moment. You got to refresh, and retool and get yourself ready for the challenges ahead.
All right. Welcome home, and I hope you'll have a good stay. Now, Irwin, first question for you this morning. How has the rhetoric around mass deportation affected the immigrant community, and in particular the Jamaican immigrant community in the tri-state area and beyond, especially those undocumented immigrants?
The rhetoric, one of the byproducts and effectiveness of the rhetoric thus far is that it has created fear, which is part of the plan, of course. Fear is one of the necessary ingredients in carrying out and bring to fruition the rhetoric that has been echoed throughout the whole campaign. And whilst some persons may have cast it aside as just talk, now we're getting closer to, we have seen where those with the rhetoric are now in charge of the levers of power. And unlike version 1, you now have their version 2, where no doubt they would have learned from some of their miscues they did the first time around and not getting certain things effectuated they wanted. If you recall, early in the administration of the previous Trump's rule, a week later he had the Muslim ban and with the confusion it caused. However, that was pushed back later because of the opposition and the various groups that came together and make it go away. But it had then created havoc and created confusion as well as fear. Mm-hmm. This time around, with the support of his house, with the support of, like I said, several levers of all levers of government, mm-hmm. I think there is a more, forceful endeavor on their part to push through things that were left unfinished the last time around. This does not mean that people are just laying down or will lay down and take it, because although many in the group that stand to be worse, to have the penalty directed at them the most, would their ethnicities would have voted for him in high numbers. It's ironic that you will begin to see pushback, because Richie, let's remember this. The undocumented immigrant in the United States mm-hmm. does not exist or live in a silo. They are part and parcel of the effectiveness of the nation, meaning that live in families or citizens or green card holders, etc. So it not only impacts undocumented immigrants, but it impacts immigrants in general.
Mm-hmm. And these are immigrants from all over the world. It's not just Jamaican and Caribbean. It's Hispanic. It's many other countries and nationalities.
That is true. But when you look at it, this type of venom and toxicity, seems to go to immigrants of color, and especially immigrants from the African nations and those from South and Latin America.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed at this stage, early days yet, any changes in the atmosphere or the treatment of immigrants in say, New York City since these announcements were made?
Oh yeah. You gotta understand, if we hark back to that conference, that presentation by Donald Trump and his folks in Madison Square a couple of weeks ago, and you heard the rhetoric and you heard the venom. Those people are serious. And now that the microphone is clearly in their hands, being that they control the sound system completely, the stage, everything, they have been empowered to say the things that they normally would only say within their groups and amongst their friends, to say it now outwardly. And you're going to see that pick up even more. You could say the bold-facedness of people. One person says that, the pot turn over now because now everybody now realize that they've been given a license. Donald Trump says close the border. He also says that there are groups that he will be targeting, I can tell you this. And that is the whole aspect of sanctuary cities. Mm-hmm. Cities that protects the provision of services to undocumented communities, mm-hmm. such as police departments do not report on undocumented. You could see those things, get ready to change. Already we've seen our mayor in New York is quick to say that he'd be working with Donald Trump. Of course, as any politician would, I guess, under the circumstances. Mm-hmm. But I think we're in for a bumpy ride there. I still remain optimistic. The elections come and elections go, but they all have consequences. Yeah. And these are the consequences now that we have to prepare to and begin to see some of the hallmarks.
Yeah, if the new administration, that is the incoming administration, really follows through on these promises, this, I believe, would no doubt have an impact and could possibly a serious impact on their economy and even the culture.
Without a doubt. Yes. Without a doubt. And there lies a part of the secret weaponry. Because one of the things that I observed in this whole election cycle, and especially when there's been this onslaught on immigrants, is the silence of chambers of commerces, especially along those states that that the immigrant pool for employment is so critical. This time around, the chambers of commerce that is usually a staunch supporter of that whole, pushback on the negativity on immigration. They were, in my mind, quite silent. And so you find out that when the rubber hits the road, and reality seep in, and I'm not belittling any job here. Every job in the United States is important because it provides you an opportunity to get an income and to move you up the ladder. But when certain basic services begin to be challenged, and it will, if we are to, abide by what they plan to do, it makes no sense. But however, these are some rabid people. Stephen Miller, who is charged with that responsibility, seems not to realize that he himself and his family are immigrants too. But it's not necessarily wait and see. There are people who are preparing to see, mm-hmm. and it's not just sitting back on our backsides. Now is the time for us to get up and stand for what we believe in.
Yeah. I want to play a clip with Donald Trump speaking on the campaign trail, and I want you to listen because there's something in this clip that I want to pick up on. Let's see if we can get President-elect Donald Trump as he spoke.
And to secure the border on day one of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship. It's things like this that bring millions of people to our country, and they enter our country illegally.
So Irwin, is that a major shift now, where even the children, future children, would now be impacted?
Yeah, the whole aspect of birthright through citizenship. That is critical, but they see they're looking at the part that jumps out at them, purposefully. But then the questions are now have to begin to be asked. What about servicemen who goes overseas and have children? What about those children? All right, they would not have been born on the United States soil. So what about those situations as well? And whereas they may be targeting people who are, won't say, damaging or infecting the blood of the United States. Okay, it's not just immigrants of color who does that too. There are many people in the European world that does that. So, you know, when people start to shift away and peel away at some of these things, you'll find that becomes a challenge. And that is also embedded in the Constitution. So they're going to run up into some major issues. It may sound good on the campaign trail, Richie, but when time comes down to implement, and that again, you know, I also have to be cautious with that statement, because we now also have a Supreme Court that will be further entrenched and stacked with his appointees. But there are other avenues that you have pushback here. We have also heard too, Richie, about the whole situation of denaturalization. Now, of course, he had installed a group to review these kind of situations, and they're hell bent on that too. But hey, in that group will also include Elon Musk. So, you know, hey, hello, you know, the whole situation here. We every time we speak on this whole immigrant situation, we seem to pay attention to the border and those coming in and persons from African nations and all that. But within that group too, there are critical persons who are of critical stature to the United States, who could also find themselves caught up in this too. Yeah. You know, so let's not just look at the guy on the street who's hanging out there at Home Depot waiting for a job. I think that there alone lies your problem. No, that's just the tip.
This obviously has the potential to change the demographics of the society in the United States of America in a big way. But I wonder, do you believe that the incoming administration will be able to balance national security concerns with humanitarian considerations, or don't you hold much hope for that?
I don't think there's any aspect there, but humanitarian concerns to them is within the whole national security scope. You know, it's embedded in there. That's also a subsector. It's not a difference. It's not a balance for them. As far as they're concerned, securing the border in America is good. Okay, that means America is going to place himself in isolationism, because as you know, he goes on to say that he's going to place tariffs on nations that don't play by his rules and stuff like that. So I think sooner or later the United States will also realize though that its power, the power of the United States, is not within. The power of the United States is its inclusiveness. The methodology to coalesce and bring folks together, not to isolate itself. The power of the United States is to bring people together, not an isolationist role. An isolationist role, United States loses.
Irwin, it's really great talking with you this morning. We've shared a lot of information, and we thank you for your input as usual, and we wish you well. Enjoy the rest of your stay, and we talk again soon, my bro.
Yes, indeed. And just before you go, I just want to send out, just say to our community, be mindful of those persons now who will be charlatans coming in to make promises to do things before Trump comes in, because this is also another time to when our communities usually are raped over the barrel. All right? So be cognizant of all our persons in the immigration field providing services that are nefarious, and be mindful as far as your immigration spend, because immigration, Richie, is one way where lots of money leaves our community too often at our detriment, to our detriment.
Yeah. Thank you so very much for that. Take care, Irwin. We'll talk again soon.
One love.